Happy New Year again to you all. We appreciate your keeping us company. We appreciate those who have been with us from the last quarter of 2020 into the first quarter of 2021, a brand new year, same program, same subject. Would like you to be able to enjoy the products and services that you consume that should only be genuine. So this show is for you, is dedicated to ensuring that we push back against the fake products. We're continuing our League of the Genuine discussions in relation to food. I didn't know this topic would take this amount of time, but I guess food is the one thing that unites all of us. We're in a period of politics and all these issues, but everybody of us takes food, needs food. So I guess we need to give it as much time as it requires. We appreciate your views, we appreciate your feedback. We also appreciate the feedback we've gotten from the government. For the first time, we have on the show a representative of the government of Uganda. They have been listening in. After all, they are the ones in charge of ensuring an enabling environment to make sure that we are safe. They're in charge of our welfare. So we have an important guest in the room today in the studio, a guest who is from the Ministry of Agriculture or the Ministry of Food. Assistant Commissioner John Mwanja, is that the correct name? Mwanja John.
Yes, it's the correct name.
Mwanja John,
yes.
Assistant Commissioner in charge of
Agricultural Chemicals.
Agricultural Chemicals.
Yes.
So you regulate or manufacture chemicals at the ministry?
Our role is regulatory, so we ensure the quality of the plant protection products on the market and the fertilizers.
And the fertilizers?
Yes.
So there is talk, Mr. Mwanja, nice to have you here, but there is talk, there's a feeling that government is not interested or not committed to fighting counterfeits in Uganda. Is that a correct assessment?
No, it's not a right assessment. The government is committed and it has put control systems in place to fight counterfeit products. I can give an example. As we talk of now, we have the Agricultural Police, which supports the inspectors in enforcing the law, the Agricultural Chemicals Control Act. And so it supports the Department of Crop Inspection and Certification to give protection to the inspectors when they are carrying out these inspection and enforcement exercises, and also to arrest the culprits and produce them to court. That's one way.
Agricultural Police, let's just deal with the Agricultural Police.
Yes.
Our experience sometimes with the other police, which is not for agriculture, is that sometimes they don't have enough cars. Even when the cars are there, they don't have fuel, they don't have tires. Is it different for the Agricultural Police? The cars are always fuel that you'll chase the counterfeiter?
It's just as you have said. There is limitation in terms of facilities. As you have said, we have few cars in the department, and yet the country is big.
How many cars?
Which we have to
How many cars do we have?
We have around 8 pickups.
8 pickups?
Yes.
8 pickups for Kampala, Wakiso district?
For the whole country.
Oh, for the whole country?
Yes, under the Department of Crop Inspection and Certification.
So you have one pickup running from Moroto and it can run down to Chigezi,
yes,
chasing a counterfeiter?
Carrying out the enforcement activities.
Okay.
So there's a limitation in terms of transport.
And I think maybe the reason you have only 8 pickups is because you take less than 4% of the national budget. I think about a trillion shillings. What's your comment on the budgeting resource-wise?
Of course, I would regard the budget as being low if you look at the activities which have to be done in the entire ministry. Because as we talk of now, we are looking at only the department which carries out regulatory services in the country. I
see. Okay. Let's now go to the mainstream. what the viewer would like to know, what is the role of the Ministry of Agriculture in relation to this subject of counterfeits, in relation to ensuring we have safe food? Do you have a role, a mandate?
Yes, we have. Our mandate is to protect the agricultural subsector from the infiltration of substandard products, which people may refer to as fake products or counterfeit products, which, if not controlled, can end up affecting the performance of the subsector. And we do this using our control systems, and one of them is registration.
Registration of the counterfeiters?
Registration, not of the counterfeiters, but registration of the products. So that a product which is not registered...
The agricultural chemicals?
Yes. Okay. So that a product which is not registered is not supposed to be on the market. If it is found on the market, then it can be regarded as a counterfeit. And this registration is a process, because the person who is intending to place the product on the market has to submit a technical dossier, the proposed samples, and the application, and then the samples. Then these ones are passed on to the accredited scientist by the board to carry out field efficacy trials, and also depending on the product in question, he may also carry out lab tests to confirm. Then thereafter, a technical report is compiled, which is tabled at the Agricultural Chemicals Technical Committee, which is of course composed of scientists from NARO, from NEMA, from forestry and other government bodies. Then
that is registration.
That's the registration. So now there is registration of the product, registration of the dealer, and registration of the premises, in order for us to be in a position to have traceability in case of any concerns. Then after registration, we also control the import of these products, whereby only registered products can be allowed to be imported into the country. What is not registered cannot be allowed to be imported in the country. Then also, we carry out market surveillance to find out what is on the market. If there is any suspicion of counterfeits or substandard products on the market, then we take on inspection and enforcement, whereby the substandard products are confiscated from the market, the culprits are arrested with the help of the agricultural police, and then they are taken to police to record the statements, and later on are produced in courts of law.
Sure, you actually arrest them and prosecute them?
Yes.
How many did you do last year? Do you have an idea?
We carried out an operation in Wandegea. The culprit was arrested, taken to police, recorded the offices, statements, and we produced in court. We also carried out another inspection in Container Village, where somebody was faking a locket. Yes, locket.
Is a pesticide or?
A locket is an insecticide for controlling crop pests. That one was also arrested, taken to police to record statements, and later will also be produced in courts of law.
In courts of law. There's a feeling that the punishment under the law is not stringent enough. It's only 2 months, 4 months, and small penalty. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree. If you look at, because the law provides for it describes offenses which can be committed in the industry, and it also prescribes the penalties which can be given out. But you find that they are not punitive enough to deter the people who engage themselves
from engaging in the practice.
In the country. Yes.
So as a Department of Agriculture Chemical Control,
yes,
are you taking any steps to
yes, we are taking
improve on the law?
Yes, we are taking steps. For instance, as I talk of now, we've been using the regulations of 1993, but now we have revised the regulations such that at least we include in punitive measures, and these regulations are in the Solicitor General's office for refining.
Before they are passed by the...
Yes, we have regulations on the control of pesticides, then regulations on fertilizers, and also regulations on application equipments.
But there is a statutory body, because for you in the ministry, you are up here.
Yes.
There is the Agricultural Chemical Board.
Yes.
Which is the agency that is supposed to execute and report back to the ministry in that area of agricultural chemicals. Is that true?
No, It's true, the Agricultural Chemicals Board exists, which is normally appointed by the minister to look for the regulation and management of chemicals in the country. And then it also has a secretariat. Now, the secretariat of the Agricultural Chemicals Board is the Department of Crop Inspection and Certification. And then also the board has a technical committee which advises the board on technicalities of agricultural chemicals. And of course now the board advises the minister on policies to do with the regulation and management of chemicals in the country. So you find that when it comes to the implementation now of enforcing the law, it's the secretariat of the board which carries out the field activities with the support of the agricultural police.
There's a feeling that you big people who work in government, you just draw allowances from meetings, you drive those big cars, but when it comes to the actual execution of the work, a lot is lacking. For example, you say that you're in charge of inspection of premises that sell these chemicals.
Yes.
But most people here will tell you that they see hawkers on the street with these pesticides and chemicals being sold, and many of them are not even registered.
Yes.
So how do you answer those people who believe that maybe you are just warming chairs and not doing work because they are suffering from these chemicals?
And the issue is, as I told you, the Agricultural Chemicals Board handles agricultural chemicals, which you call plant protection products and fertilizers. Now, these other chemicals we are talking of, those are public health products, which are
there's a
public
chemical,
health products,
it was called
which are supposed.
Tick bomb. Was it tick bomb? Somebody came here and was speaking about a chemical that is used, I think, in the animal husbandry. And somebody from ND actually was saying there is somebody who brought a chemical, it's not registered, but it's on the market and the hawkers are selling it. So there's that feeling that probably your inspection department, your registration department, the follow-up is wanting for people who see these products out on the market. They are wondering how effective are you in ensuring that we are protected as the public?
Well, you may be right. That's why I said we carry out market surveillance. And where we're suspecting that there are some standard products on the market, then we go for inspection and enforcement.
Inspection and enforcement.
Yes.
Have you done inspection and enforcement? For example, we had, I think we still have, an outbreak on ticks. You are aware of that?
Yes.
Big outbreak on ticks to the point where the president wrote a very angry letter to your minister saying, who allowed these imports?
Yes.
Cows are dying, and somebody came here and said there was a chemical that was on the market. I think it's tick ban or whatever the name is. And it was freely being sold, and the people who are vending it or trading it, they are arrested today, tomorrow they are out. So that thing persists, that enough is not being done, and that's why we have the situation with the ticks. In fact, somebody was saying the ticks were very smart, that they became resistant to, I think they changed their genetics. And so whatever chemical you people were approving,
So they have become resistant.
they have become resistant. Is the ministry doing something to counter these smart ticks in terms of the chemical that is being used?
Maybe the first thing which I should point out is that, as I've told you, now that one is handled by another department or another ministry, because now that's National Drug Authority, which is under the Ministry of Health. It's the one which handles human drugs.
They are not part of this technical committee that technical committee you talked about in the ministry.
Yes.
Doesn't it have people who sit on the committee from other government agencies?
It has.
Isn't it multi-sectoral?
It is. That's why I pointed out when I was telling you people from NARO, people from Minister of Forestry, people from Minister of Trade, people from NEMA, so it's multi-sectoral. But what I was saying, I was looking at that other product you are talking about of the tick.
Tick ban.
Yeah,
Yes.
now that one is under the National Drug Authority, which is under the Ministry of Health. Because for them, they regulate human drugs and animal drugs.
Oh,
yes.
So for you regulate plant drugs?
Yes, agricultural chemicals and fertilizers, and also seed.
You don't deal with animals, okay.
And also seed. Actually, the Department of Crop Inspection and Certification has 3 divisions. The first division is the agrochemical division, which regulates the management of agricultural chemicals and fertilizers. Then the second division is the National Seed Certification, which regulates and controls the quality
of seeds.
Yeah, of planting materials in the country, both seed and vegetative planting material. Then we have the third division, which is phytosanitary and quarantine. This one works on crop products or plant products, those ones which are exported out of the country and even those ones coming into the country. So it's responsible for regulating to ensure that the quality of these products is high, it meets the standards of the international markets, Europe and others, and also to ensure that exotic pests and diseases are not introduced into the country, or even those ones who may be here are not exported out of the country.
So Mr. Mwanja, if you are in charge of agricultural chemicals alone, I want you to offer some explanation.
Yes.
Why in the area of fertilizers,
yes,
and in the area of herbicides, which
yes,
you deal with directly,
yes,
why we have the highest level of counterfeiting of agricultural inputs? Herbicides, fertilizers beat all the other levels of counterfeiting. Is it because it's easy to make the herbicides and fake them? Is it because the demand is big? Like Weedmaster, for example, Roundup, all those products, a lot of the fakes are flooded on the market, and this is your docket.
Actually, it's not the way you are putting it.
According to statistics we have seen.
Yeah, but also according to our statistics, because as I told you, we carry out routine inspections. I can give you an example. By 2018, according to our records of inspections and the substandard products are confiscated from the market, went to a tune of 50 metric tons.
The fake ones confiscated,
yes. Both plant protection products and seed. But as we talk of today, the last inspection which we carried out, the substandard products confiscated from the market were slightly less than 2 metric tons. So that one shows you that's not true, as you are saying.
They were slightly less, maybe because the enforcement measures were not very successful. They kept missing the target. So that's why they got a few fakes.
But reducing it from, not that way, but you see, as you said, we are limited with resources. But now, as resources are improving, for instance, we are bringing more staff on board. As I told you that now we have around 8 pickups. Before, they were around 3.
You're planning how many for this new year?
We are having 3. So now we find that these routine inspections have become regular, and we are almost reaching all parts of the country. And of course, the sensitization is going on. So now the farmers, the traders, they know that if you engage yourself in the vice of counterfeit and you are got by the inspectors and the police, you will be arrested, you will lose what you are invested in the fake products, and at the end of the day, you are going to be taken to court. And actually, even in March, that was around 17th March 2020, the Minister of State for Agriculture, Honorable Aggrevagire, convened a meeting of all the importers and distributors of agricultural inputs, that is seed, pesticides, and fertilizers, and gave a stern warning against counterfeits and said, we as regulators, we are not going to tolerate anybody who engages himself or herself in activities of placing counterfeits on the market. So now those measures of
are being implemented.
Yes, frequent inspections, and also the minister's warning has contributed to the reduction.
Let's go back to March 2020, which you mentioned. I think that's the time we had locusts,
Yes.
an invasion.
Yes.
And some people feel that we still have an invasion of ticks. We are struggling with it for the longest time. But with the locusts, somehow you had some miracle chemicals and the guys left the scene. How did you deal? I don't know whether you're competent to comment on that. How come you are so successful in fighting the locusts? Is it because billions of shillings we are reading were being pumped there and not enough is being pumped for the ticks? That's why we still have ticks. How did you deal with the locusts?
I think for the locusts, in the first place, they started from the neighboring countries. So as they were advancing towards Uganda, that gave us a chance to prepare ourselves in terms of the chemicals which could control the locusts, in terms of other resources like people who would spray, and also forecasting the most likely districts to be invaded. That could be one way why it became successful.
You are more prepared, but
yes.
you don't know that we have regular attacks for the ticks and all these others, but we still have fakes. How come we didn't have fake sprays for the locusts?
Now look here. The locusts came in, they were identified, and action was taken. They were controlled, and they died. Now, when it comes to ticks, as we said from the beginning, that with the time they develop resistance. That's why you find that they keep on changing these products, just as also they change for human beings. If they say now this drug is no longer effective, they
then
can
you
change
change to something else.
Yes.
So overall, what, from a ministry standpoint, overall, what do you see as the big impact of the fake agro input or agrochemicals on the agriculture sector? Do they have an impact?
Of course they have. The first one is that they affect the reputation of those companies which supply the genuine products, if their products are counterfeited.
Yes. What about the reputation of the country?
Now from there, I'm coming to that. I'm moving from micro to macro. Now, after affecting the reputation of the company, it means even the company, its sales are going to reduce. Now, when you come to the consumer, that's the farmer. If he buys these substandard products, they may end up not performing to the expectation. One, the farmer has lost income, has lost the money which he used to buy the products to apply to his crops. That's one. Then two, he has not got out the yield which he expected. And since we are looking at commercialization, you'll find that the yield will be low because of using inferior products. And if the yields are low, it means the farmer's income is also affected.
It's going to go low.
And if the farmer's income is affected, if you aggregate as a nation, you find that even the country will end up also being affected.
But it's surprising why we still talk about a major counterfeit problem in agriculture. Yet you have invested heavily in agriculture extension services. Is it failing, the agriculture extension workers? Are they not motivated? Are they few? Are they like the 8 pickups that you talked of for the police? Because I thought those would be able to, they are grassroots and they should be able to check.
Yes, you are right. Because they are supposed to educate the farmers.
Yes.
And even create public awareness about the existence of fakes and their effects, how they can be identified and how they can be avoided. However, the issue of counterfeit is a bit difficult, whereby you find that it's difficult to many people to differentiate between a genuine product and a counterfeit product. So at least it requires some knowledge and technical expertise to be able to differentiate the counterfeit products from the genuine products.
Maybe you should tell us, so what is the ministry doing to help ordinary Ugandans differentiate between genuine and fake?
There's a number of ways. The first one, we train the stockist under what we call safe-use training on handling and use of agricultural chemicals.
Safe-use training.
And actually, it's mandatory that all stockists should undergo that course. because it's a requirement when we are registering them that in addition to a minimum of senior 4, somebody must have attended that safe use training before he qualifies to be registered as a stockist or a dealer in agricultural chemicals. That's one way. Because we know these farmers will end up consulting these dealers or stockists. You find that actually most of the time they are the people giving information or knowledge to the farmers more than the extensionist, because that's where they buy. So by taking them under that training, it means we are addressing that issue. And actually, in the training modules, there is a module specifically on fighting counterfeit products, how we identify them and how we fight them. That's now on the side of the dealers. Now, when you come to the side of the farmers, we carry out sensitization. So through those sensitizations, if a farmer gets a chance to listen, then of course he will get the knowledge and he will be in position to avoid counterfeits. Now, when you come to extension workers, what we are doing, we are rolling out the training of these extension workers in the different districts. For instance, so far we have trained 135 in about 10 districts, and we equip them with the knowledge and the technical expertise of identifying these fake products on the market. So we hope and we expect them to assist in quality assurance of agricultural inputs in their respective districts.
Mr. Mwanja, we are happy that you've come to this platform.
Yes, sir.
Which, as I said, is a private sector initiative to bring stakeholders together, including government, to fight the concealed dangers of counterfeits. But I wonder whether in your ministry you have a deliberate plan to reach out and work with private entities to ensure that there is sufficient collaboration to fight these counterfeits, because you as government, as you've seen, you can't fight it alone. Do you have any plans?
We have
in that area.
Yes, we have the plans, but maybe before I answer it in that direction, also we work with other government organizations. I can give an example. As I said, the product must have been registered. When it is registered, it's given a unique registration number. Which registration number must appear on the label of that product. Now, if the person who intends to put the product on the market has fulfilled the requirements of the product being registered, he himself being a registered dealer and the premises being registered, and we give him an import permit to import these products, whether seed or chemicals, the first condition on the permit is PVOC. That is purification from the origin of the product, where it's coming from.
SGS.
Yes, and he comes and he is provided with a certificate of conformity. So that would be one way for us to be convinced that since this product already has a certificate of conformity, it means it's genuine from the point of origin. Now, when these consignments reach the border, there are 3 desks which they must go through before the consignment is released to enter the country. The first one is URA. I may not talk much about URA because you said those ones are concerned with taxes. The second desk is UNBS. So you find that UNBS specifically will look for that certificate of conformity. And if...
Which can also be faked, by the way.
I can't refute that, but...
so it's not foolproof.
But UNBS has the capacity to know whether it is authentic or not. Then from there, the agriculture inspector is the last desk. So this agriculture inspector will check the documentation to see, is the product, did this person get authority to import? If yes, is the product registered? If yes, has it come from the right source? And other things he may wish to cross-check. Then if he is satisfied, the consignment will be allowed to enter the country. If he's not satisfied, actually starting from UNBS, if UNBS is not satisfied, then it won't move to the agriculture inspector. Issues have to be first addressed by UNBS. whether picking samples and carrying out analysis and providing that certificate of conformity at the expense of the owner. Then also when it comes to the agriculture inspector, if it's not meeting some of the set standards, still also it may not be released to enter the country.
But in actual fact, Mr. Mwaja,
yes,
a lot of these fakes that are not meeting the standards, that are counterfeit, are released. To what extent has corruption affected the ministry's agenda to fight counterfeits?
Maybe let me first finish the other one which you asked. Now, when you come to working with the private sector, you find that we have an organization for the importers. That's CropLife Uganda. We work together, and actually their member sits on the board. Then also we have an association for the dealers, properly known as
Agro Input.
Yes, known as UNADA. All those ones, we are working with them. So these apex bodies like those two which I have mentioned, we build their capacity such that they can do self-regulation. And in the end, we hope that we are moving in the direction of maintaining the quality of inputs on the market. Now, when it comes to the other which you have said, that all the same,
corruption, because the viewers out there,
yes,
who are having difficulty. If
yes,
somebody is a farmer, you go, you buy seedlings, they don't work. You buy chemicals, you get side effects, you know,
yes,
rashes and so on. They are saying that you have all those inspectors and so on, but that corruption is actually cutting back on the progress that we should have made in ensuring we don't have these fake agrochemicals on the market. To what extent is that a problem?
Well, I can't refute that, but first and foremost, also what I want to bring to your notes is that we have many porous borders.
I'm talking of inside the
yes,
country,
and
not at the border. Inside,
yes,
you have the inspectors, even you have the police sometimes. Consignment of fake is impounded or arrested, and the next day it is released. So there is that vice there of corruption. Have you singled it as a major impediment to your good programs at the ministry?
Before I come to that, it takes us back to the consignment, because the consignment has to pass through the border. So now you find that some of the borders are not manned. We have porous borders around, so you may find that some of those fake products may not have gone through the manned borders, and they find their way on the market. That's why I said
that is one of
yes.
The border.
That's why I said we carry out market surveillance, inspection, and enforcement, such that we confiscate those products which got the access on the market and destroy them at the cost of the owner, and also.
And if he has no money, if he runs away, where do those goods end up? Don't they go back onto the market?
How? I wish you could get a chance and you visit us in Namarere.
You are busy destroying.
Even you will see what is there which we haven't destroyed as yet. When we get in the market, we confiscate those substandard products. We take them to our stores. Then, as I said, the culprit is taken to police. We record statements and then later on produce in courts of law.
We have an investigation arm here.
Yes.
And our investigators have given some reports showing that sometimes the product is confiscated, condemned, NEMA certificate, everything, environment is handled. And then that consignment, instead of going to Nakasongola for these other products, to the incinerator, it's the truck goes Nakasongola route and turns back into Chikugo or into the market. You've not seen that with the
I've not seen that, but
chemicals.
I've not seen that, but for me what I know, because these things, it's a procedure, it's not a one man's business. When we move off in the field, of course we fill forms. We have confiscated these things. We leave behind the field form, the copy, and then we go with another copy. And as I've said, we are with police. Then this person is produced as police statements are made. The confiscated products are taken to Namarere. Then from there, we work with NEMA. They identify a private incinerator, because what happens actually...
Private?
Yeah,
private.
Because actually what happens is, these things are not incinerated from Nakasongola as it used to be in the past. There are many other private incinerators which have been set up. So we work with NEMA, then NEMA writes a document assigning us the private provider, the service provider. Then from there, our inspector, the owner of the products.
The owner might run away. This is, I'm telling you out of experience.
That's why I said, that's why I said we register the company and the premises for traceability. Now, if you look at the invoice, it will be indicating the consignee.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can't do what? We can't.
But the consignee, many of them, when they are arrested, maybe at the point of customs,
yes,
they abandon the goods there sometimes, and they run away, because if you appear, you can also face jail time. So what they do, they go behind the scenes, try to see if they can bribe their way of getting the goods out, or they just abandon the cargo. So to say that for every consignment, the owner will be there religiously escorting the John to go and destroy his goods.
Okay, that situation could also be there, but for us, at least, I have not witnessed that one.
You've not.
Where we send products to be incinerated, and again they get back to the market. No.
I know, we have seen it, but since you say that you are open to working with private sector, yes, I am sure we shall be sharing more and more of this feedback to you. And the aim here, by the way, is to supplement.
Yes.
To supplement and support the government effort, which we realize needs to be everybody's business, not just for the commissioner like you, because we collectively are responsible for the kind of country we have. If I leave it to Commissioner John and say it's none of my business, then we are all not safe. But as we conclude, there is...
Maybe before you conclude, that is a very good initiative. If you can as well provide us that confidential information, it will really push us a step ahead in apprehending the culprits. As long as you give us credible information.
We shall bring the culprits while we have arrested them and hand over to Agriculture Police. We can do that as well. And then you manage
maybe before arresting, you'd work with us and move together.
In the investigation?
Not in the investigation, but now at this point of inspecting where those products are and arresting the culprit.
Okay, that fair enough. But yes, now you see there is a feeling.
And as you give us that information, I promise you, you will always be informed of the outcome.
I think for you as John,
yes,
you must, you are a very optimistic person and very good natured, but I can tell you there are some bad apples in your areas there, where sometimes you give the information,
yes,
and the culprit is notified is informed about the intended raid or investigation, and so by the time you go there with the police, the store is empty. We've seen those cases. So I think we need more Johns in the ministry, in the police and so on, to make this a noble cause, because some people are just looking for money. Some people, when they get a counterfeiter, he takes a little bribe and that's it. He does not know that he is releasing poison or dangerous substances into the public, which could affect his relative, his mother, or even himself,
and the environment,
because they come back. So there is that danger there. But there is one thing, there is a mismatch, yes, which we have seen sometimes. For example, when you look at the sector budget priorities for the Ministry of Agriculture for 2021, this last budget which was read,
yes,
one of the key things that they point out is to help farmers access markets for export. It is written there, very nice English and very good objective. But now you look at the situation on the ground. Our maize gets rejected because of aflatoxins. Our beef gets banned by EU because of quality issues. We cannot sell seed. We don't have the international seed certification. If you compare our agricultural product quality,
yes,
compared to Rwanda, compared to Kenya, we are so low, so way below. Now, how are we as a ministry, as a government, as a people of Uganda, having on the one hand a priority to do an export drive. But then we are here choking in counterfeits. The chemicals are fake, the seeds are fake, the post-harvest handling is also an issue. How are you balancing, as a Minister of Agriculture, how are you balancing, on the one hand, the need to export quality and the actual production of fake, which we have?
As you have put it, we are looking at commercialization of agriculture in the first place.
Yes.
And again, if you look at the National Development Program 3, we are looking at agro-industrialization. Now, you have talked about standards. So for us as a ministry, what we are doing, first of all, we look at the market. An example is Europe. Then we ask ourselves, what are the requirements in that market? Of course, in terms of standards, as you are saying. Then, after having known what is required in the market, or the standards we are required, then we make research, because we have NARO, which conducts research about the market, and also come up with solutions how we can address or
corrective measures.
Yes, to meet the standards. Then from there, now we look at the inputs which the farmer is going to use to be able to commercialize. Now, when we come to the inputs, now that's where we are putting our effort in terms of the quality control measures. Which
that is the point.
Yes.
Quality control.
Yeah, which we have gone through. Because now here we look at the seed, then we look at the plant protection products, we also look at the fertilizers.
Yes, so how are we on paper here wanting to export when they are refusing our products because we are having issues? Counterfeit for us is our main concern.
Yes.
It is the major thing pulling us down as a food basket, as a net exporter of food, because we have too much food here which we throw around. We should be getting value.
So those are the measures which we are looking at. As I told you, we have to ensure that only registered products are placed on the market. Those ones which are not registered are not allowed to be imported in the country and are not allowed on the market. Then, of course, there, as I told you, we have agricultural police on board. We carry out inspection and enforcement, such that we remove those substandard products from the market, and also take to courts the culprits. Then from there, we control the importation of these products, such that we only bring in quality inputs alone. Then, of course, also, as I said, we are training these extension workers in the different districts, such that they are in position to quality assure these products in their districts. And then, of course, we have planned a massive campaign which we expect to execute on radio, on TV, fighting counterfeits. So which we expect to execute on the TV, radio, print media, such that the public
in all languages. The major languages.
The major languages. We can't cover in all languages. So now, if you look at all that which I have expounded, you find that we are hopeful that we'll be in a position to address the issue of counterfeits. Just as I told you that as I talk of now, at least we have gone slightly below our 2 metric tons from the...
For the effects
yes.
you obtain. We should be getting 0. Anyway, here at the League of the Genuine, we have been at this subject for quite a long time.
Yes.
And we have noticed that counterfeit behavior, that is the purchase, especially by the consumers,
yes.
Is driven by attitudes and mentalities and, perception.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have summarized the factors, the drivers
yes.
for counterfeit behavior on the side of the consumer.
Yes.
We have an acronym called DANKANI, which you can see there.
Yes.
Differentiation, people cannot differentiate. Price affordability is a big issue. It has become normal now to expect when you go to buy an agricultural chemical, you're not sure whether it will work or not work. Convenience, the concealed dangers, the aspiration to be like others, we're always climbing the ladder. Negligence and ineffective cooperation. So from your experience in the Ministry of Agriculture,
Yes.
do you identify with any of those drivers of the counterfeit culture? Have you had an intimate experience with any of those as one of those things causing the big upsurge in counterfeits?
Yes, I have. And the most prominent one is differentiation. You find that there are some other products which you can easily suspect that this is a counterfeit, and you take samples, you take the lab to prove. But now when you come to the real term counterfeit, these are products which are almost the same with the genuine in appearance, such that it is really very difficult for somebody to be in a position to differentiate if the two are put together. That one is being the major problem.
And as government, you're saying we are going to address it. You're going to help us to differentiate.
Yes, through the sensitization and the trainings which I've talked about. And now, when you go down now to the farmers, bro, again, the problem is really bad, because for them, even where a technical person can easily differentiate between a genuine product and a fake, to them it's a problem. That's why I
How
say
is it a problem? They don't listen, or
the literacy level is low.
literacy?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why we emphasize training or the stockists and dealers.
Who will train them at the level they understand?
Yeah, when they are coming to pick these products from their shops. And then the second one is affordability. You find that this
Poverty is a major thing, which you have failed to remove as the Minister of Agriculture.
Yes, but now we are looking at affordability. You find that genuine products, most of the time, their cost is higher, if not a bit higher, than the cost of substandard products.
Or the fake one. Actually, the fake are more expensive because they give you no value. So even if you're paying a lower price, you're actually losing everything. You get no value.
But
so I think it's not correct to say genuine are expensive.
But the consumer may not know that, not until when he has applied. But when he's in the market, they will tell him this one, let's say 10,000, this one is 7,000. Then he will go in for the one of 7,000. Only to apply, and the thing is not effective, as you are saying. Yes. So on the part of the consumer, affordability is an issue. Then, of course, the concealed danger.
People don't know the concealed danger.
They may not know the outcome of using substandard products.
Tell us some of the concealed dangers.
Because in the first place, these products have not been certified. Meaning, they don't meet, or they may not be meeting, the set standards
and
specifications. So, if they applied on crops, first of all, you find that the applicant may get affected in the process of applying.
Health-wise?
Yes, health-wise. That one also even happens to the bypassers or bystanders when the application is going on. Then from there, you find that even the environment may also be affected, because when he applies these products, some of them may end up in water sources. Then from there, you find that even the consumers of these products, let's say the product was produced in Kumi, but you are consuming it here in Kampala, but you don't know that the protection products which were used or which were applied were substandard. So in the end, still it takes you back to what you have said, health products, which may, affecting
health effects.
Yes, health effects due to consumption of products onto which the substandard products were applied.
Okay, so time is not on our side. We've just been hosting Assistant Commissioner in charge of Agricultural Chemicals at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries.
Yes.
MAAIF. And Commissioner John Mwanja, I'm sure you have some good news as you will leave the studio. Is it going to remain gloom, or you have some good news for us? What do we expect in the new year? Things will be better? Anything?
Thank you very much. just as I've put it during our discussion, the community or the public shouldn't fear. We are doing all we can as a ministry and to protect the agriculture subsector from the infiltration of substandard products. So we promise you as a ministry, the situation is greatly improving.
Okay, thank you. So for us here at the League of the Genuine, this is our promise. We promise to keep the ministry, keep its promise. In other words, we shall be checking on you, we shall be following up with you, Commissioner, to say what happened, you promised this, you promised that, because we are a platform that gives the consumers an opportunity to talk back, to express their concerns, so that it is easier for you as the ministry, as government, to meet somewhere in the middle with them, and then get a compromise or get solutions to some of the problems we have, that we still have, which is the fake products in the market, and the fake products especially in food. We are about to wind up this series. I think we have 1 or 2 more episodes in relation to counterfeits in the food sector. We hope that you have enjoyed this program. We hope that you have learned 1 or 2 things. We're very grateful to stakeholders that the government, like the government, who have participated and are also contributing to the conversation, to the debate of this big issue that needs all our support to be tackled and to be dealt with effectively. So till then, see you again. Remember, tune in every Friday, evening 8 p.m. We are always live, and we shall have another exciting guest for you again. So till then, see you on Friday.